All right, I thought I was supposed to dance. I could do that too. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Atique. I'm from Intercontinental Hotel Group, based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I do not have a presentation. No slides. So let's celebrate that for a second, please. No slides. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. My intention here is to open the floor with question and answers up front, rather than keep things for the latter part. I want to do this a little differently. So, over the last, well, let's say today, we have heard lots of people talk about different things. And different companies are represented in this room and in the room across from us. Lots of people visiting different parts of the organization all over here, different companies and so on and so forth. My company, Intercontinental Hotel Group, is a collection of several brands. We are a global company, as you guys. IHG. You guys, how many know IHG? Thank you. All right, good. So I'm amongst family then. Good. I don't have to explain to you what is Intercontinental and Crown Plaza and all that wonderful stuff. I joined our company about 6 months ago. I'm not a hotel expert in any way, shape, or form. But in essence, what I'm responsible for at IHG is consumer-facing communications. Anything that touches a consumer globally across any of our brands. So whether it's a Intercontinental direct mail piece, or if it's a Priority Club program element, if it's an email, social media, all of that falls within our team. So we use campaigns to engage with the consumers. And remember I said we want to make this into a conversation rather than a presentation. So the first thing I picked up today, after listening to many people and many smart people, was to be able to now start to do this thing called not a conversation or a presentation, it's a conversation. We're having a conversation right now. And what is a conversation? A conversation is a conversation that you can directly apply to a presentation and make it your idea. You can go back and say, look, these are all the things that I am able to showcase to the organization as an opportunity for us to focus on. And my little list is over here. So I want to share with you what my conversational points are coming out of today's insights that I gained. The first one that I picked up, we've been talking about this thing called loyalty a lot. People talk about loyalty. Next door to us, we had a gentleman talk about the loyalty program, Hilton Honors. What about loyalty to a brand? So the first thing I'm picking up is that maybe, just maybe, there are two types of loyalties. And it's up to us to define what does loyalty mean to your company. Is it loyalty to a program, or is it loyalty to a brand? They don't have to compete with each other. That's what I think. I think loyalty into a program is about experiencing the essence and the power of that brand, the brand promise. So a program loyalty is a way to engage with a specific brand and continue to, I guess, engage and maximize. So first thing is, when you go back, are you defining loyalty as a program element, or is it the brand element at your company? Coca-Cola, wonderful brand, lots of products, a lot of capabilities. I wonder what their approach would be to loyalty. Is it loyalty to a brand or a program that has that? And that got me thinking. Today we have a loyalty program called the Priority Club. And the Priority Club program is the world's largest hotel rewards program with about 68.6 million members in it. Now, Hilton folks, our friends, their program has about 34 million. So I've got more loyal people in my program. But does it mean that I'm getting their share of spend? I don't know. So that was my first conversation point, this thing about brand loyalty versus program loyalty. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit more. The second big thing for me was A part. So the first one we talked about was definition, right? Defining whether it's loyalty versus the program. The second one was establishing our approach to loyalty. So what I'm thinking about here is when I go back and we define loyalty, what do I put in the middle of it? Do I make myself say the customer's in the middle of the equation and everything is rotating around it? Very 1990-ish. What if I say I'm an upside-down organization where the customer's at the top and management's at the bottom? Still 1994. What do you say in 2013? What do you put in the middle that nobody competes with, that you will get no argument around? So instead of putting the consumer in the middle, I'm thinking we should put data in the middle. If you put data in the middle, then you get to solve for 4 things that are all like in a plus shape around data. On the left side, you have the consumer. So you need to solve for leveraging data and insights, who the consumer is that I'm trying to appeal. At the very top, you put your products or brands. So each brand has a specific type of power play. It's got different capabilities. On this side of the plus size, you put the markets where you're engaging. So you start with the left, which is consumer. At the top, your brands. To the right side, all your markets where you're currently engaged, or regions, whatever those may be. And at the bottom part, your channels. And then it becomes a very nice visual where you put the circle in the middle called your data. And now you have data about a consumer that engages with a specific brand within a specific market, where you have presence, you may have partnerships, you may have sponsors. And at the bottom, how consumers engage with us through different channels. That becomes a very, very easy for everybody else to apply a framework. By putting data in the middle, what I'm thinking, it becomes less political as well. Because I'm not taking the side of customer service. I'm also not taking sides of organizational marketing, whether it's global versus regional. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with the essence that we are trying to leverage, and that's our data asset. Because your data becomes your key driver for insights around consumer, brand, markets, and channels. So that's number 2 conversational point that I picked up in today's conversations with several people. It's a nice framework that gets to, it can be applied to different industries. The third thing, which was nice, transformation. Transformation for us in our company as we move into this world of social was thinking about what does social mean. Now, I'm talking about loyalty, and why is Atique talking about social? The reason for that is because when you are a brand that consumers can feel, they can touch, they can experience, they're going to talk about you. So we as a company, for Holiday Inn, Crown Plaza, all of our different brands, we are always constantly listening to what the conversations are taking place. But what I'm talking about is how do I create, so people come and say, Atique, what's our social strategy? Do I answer them as a social media strategy? Because one thing that I'm picking up as my third point is that as you talk about transformation, maybe we should create a social engagement framework for people to follow. And my social engagement framework maybe is about 3 things. At the very bottom, so it's a 3-step process. So somebody says, what's our social strategy? You could easily say this. At the very start, we're going to start with social media. That's your first step. Next step, social marketing. Third step, social CRM. Let's talk about first step. To me, first step is having presence, having Twitter account, having Facebook presence, having an Instagram strategy, having a Pinterest strategy. So in essence, having equity that consumers can engage with your brand and talk about it. So that's social media. Social media is not, in its essence, your social strategy. It is a part of a social strategy. Please take this back, share with the masses, because I feel, and I've heard this many times, people talk about social media And they think that's our social strategy. And they talk about it as if it's complete. It's the alpha and the omega. So step one, let's have presence. That's your social media. Next level, we talked about social marketing. That's the cool part. Social marketing is no different than driving traffic to your social assets. So what we're talking about is getting those likes on Facebook. It's about getting the thumbs up. It's about getting the recognition. It's about getting the brand equity and the mentions that you deserve, that your brands deserve, that our brands deserve, so that people engage collectively. There's power, there's social equity power in that, which is leading to the marketing of your social assets. So to me, social marketing is about taking your first step, and after you've taken your first step of having the presence, marketing it properly, driving traffic through the specific campaigns or through other tags. Yes, 2. 3, which is the fun part. A lot of people don't talk about it. Social CRM. Social CRM is the secret sauce of what social CRM can be. Well, what happens is when you take direct marketers like us and give them this social capability called, thank you, this capability called social, this is what we do. I'm sorry to, well, you guys can pretty much see this. I'm not in my teens. You could guess that I'm in my 30s, but I'm not, I know. What happens when we hit 40? Something really happens to us. And I look at things very differently. My goal is to generate revenue, not just revenue, profitable revenue for a company. Whether I was Atique working for Nokia, whether I was Atique working for with MTV or NBA or BMW, whichever brand that I work for, my goal has always been introduce ways to engage, operate, mobilize, and utilize the assets to do more things with that. Social is no different than that. So as a direct marketing person who looks at social, I say, the holy grail within social is to be able to identify those that have the right social score to create more awareness for your brand. Those are the influencers. It is the right of every brand to go out there and identify those within social communities that are influencing others to driving traffic to our sites. We do that. So at Intercontinental Hotel Group, or prior to that at some other companies that I worked at, it's always about identifying the type of relationships that drive profitability to our brands, to our websites. So it is, I guess what I'm saying is, as you put together this equation for social engagement framework, make that as the holy grail that you're solving for, because that's going to lead you automatically to the one thing that folks, the younger people, in social communities don't talk about: data. Social is generating more data per second than anything else. How many of us, please raise your hand, can tell me right now that you're taking your YouTube feedback and looping that back into your campaign management engine? How many of us are taking that information out of Twitter or Facebook and mapping it back to the profiles of our holistic view so that we can create the 360 holy view of a consumer? I don't think many of us can say that. I cannot. So what I'm saying is, as the third point of this conversation that we're having, or presentation format, is take that and make that as your idea to go and say, we need to solve for these 3 things. Social media, followed by social marketing, followed by your social CRM, and ultimately leading towards social play, leveraging data and insights. And there are many platforms out there that directly have APIs into Twitter and Facebook and all of the above to take that information back from your campaigns and load them for your next campaign. And so please go out to the booths that folks have over here, and you will see lots of software that have the capability of adding that dimension and insight to your platforms. So that's 3. Number 4 now. The 4th part of this conversation that I want to have with you guys is analytics. I am tired. You hear the word analytics, and people always assume a certain thing. We come from the world of lots of analysis. In my organization, if somebody is in finance, putting together an Excel sheet, they're called analytical people. In my organization, if somebody's putting a report in business objects, they're called analytical people. In my organization, if you are somebody who is just accessing different sets of data within the organization, people will call you an analytical person. You'll have a title called business analyst or reporting analyst or some sort of analytical person. So I almost have to go back and convince the masses to say that analytics is something that people like us dedicate our life to. It's not just about reporting, which is a part of it, absolutely. But when we talk about analytics, maybe it's a little different than what other people are talking about. So when we talk about analytics, the very term analytics is dependent on data. So for me, my big thing today was applying a certain principle to how I define analytics. And so I break it down into two sets of analytics that is built on data, right? One, data at rest, data in motion. Take those two and apply that to your organization. See how nice it becomes. Data at rest will tend to be used by people that are performing analysis on what has already happened. They will look at things, trends, they will do forecasting, they will look at trending and so on and so forth, because they're looking at the types of data sets that have already existed. Data in motion are going to be your marketeers by default, your database marketing folks that are looking at the performance of a specific campaign that is in motion. The likes, the information, the types of trends that we are generating on the fly when a campaign is live. Email responses to a campaign, open rates, hard bounces, soft bounces, are all examples of these data sets we call data in motion. So the way I've been thinking about is when we look at analytics, whether it's performance analytics, what has already happened, historical trending and analysis, versus predictive analytics, where I'm using Bayes classification networks, algorithm, decision trees, C5 algorithms, or any of our other additional assets. The goal is to identify which part do you want to play in based on the strategies that you want to develop. So what I'm trying to say here is there were 4 things. So as I picked up some notes that I wanted to share with you guys, because we're family. 1, defining what the loyalty program means for us. Is it loyalty to the brand versus loyalty to the program? 2, establishing the approach. We talked about putting data in the middle so that it's not really about putting consumer in the middle. It's nice, but it's very hard to achieve because the organization by default just doesn't work like that. There's always going to be drama. So I say put data in the middle so that you are saying, hey, this is what the data says. I'm just applying this to whether it's the consumer side, whether it's the brand side, whether it's the market side, or it's the channel side. The third one is transformation. We talked about the social engagement framework. You start with social media, followed by social marketing, and then social CRM, and all closing the loop with social data. And then final was analytics. If you take the first words of all of these, I did this by purpose. The first one was definition, so D, approach A, T, transformation, and A, I know, data. How cool is that? That was our first data mining exercise, guys. But I wanted to stop on data because I know I didn't have a lot of time, so rather this, that. I want to share with you something. Data, just like not all consumers are created equal, our data is not created equal as well. So here's my number one gift I want to share with you, because this is something that I've applied at BMW, NBA, and all these different companies. The God of data created 5 types of data sets for us. No matter which company or industry you belong to, there cannot be a 6th kind of data set. It doesn't exist. There are 5 types of data. First one, nominal data. Second one, ordinal data. Third one, categorical data. Fourth one, additive data. And number 5, subtractive. That's it. You go back, I mean it. You talk to many people, they won't be able to distinguish the type of data sets they need to have in order to run that special campaign or that special promotion. Because 9 out of 10 marketeers will not know the difference or what do they want. They need our guidance. So take these types of data sets, identify which is the one that is more valuable for you. I'll give you a couple of examples. Nominal data is data that can stand by itself. You don't need any explanation to add to it for it to make sense. For example, Atique is doing a presentation. That's a very factual. You don't need to know who's doing what. But you say there are male and female in this room. Now you're concerned because you need to subtract something out of it before it can make sense. So subtractive data is something that you have to take something out of for it to make sense. Additive data, you will have to add something to it for it to make sense. Categorical data is age 38, age 39, age 32, things that come in categories. And that's normal distribution. And then there is, what am I missing? Nominal. Ordinal. Oh, what do you think ordinal is? Yes, things that go in order, things that go in hierarchies, things that go in sets. For example, platinum status, gold status, and club status, as an example. Orders that you create. Somebody that comes gives you 15 nights a year, 10 nights a year. Those are driven by us as a way of looking at data, but it's the data that drives it. It's the insights and stuff. So I guess what I'm just want to close by, I don't have a lot of time here, but I just wanted to share with you those couple of things that I saw coming out today, and wanted to share with you the types of data that you have. Hopefully you can take some of this stuff and play with it. But by all means, we're here. I'll be more than happy to give you examples of some of the stuff that I've implemented in the past and are in the process of implementing at IHG as well to be able to do some fun stuff. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, guys.